How's it going, you guys? Welcome back to Unorthodox Savings. So today I want to talk about the real estate bubble of 2021. I've seen a lot of clickbait titles and a lot of people starting to talk about this as if the real estate market is going to crash. As many of my old subscribers know, I recently just bought a real estate property. So this is something that's on my radar and something that I'm a little bit concerned about. So I want to go through what I'm going to do and what you guys can do if you're interested in real estate investing or you plan on buying a home in the next couple of years. So to give a super easy summary of what exactly is happening is the basic supply and demand theory, where the demand for houses is very high. And the reasons are basically endless. A lot of people want to get out of the cities because of the virus, they want to go to the suburbs. And a lot of people understand that the interest rates are very, very cheap. So they want to get a good deal on the house so they don't have to pay as much. But the demand is so high and supply is so low that it's driving the prices of the homes up dramatically. It's beginning to happen in my area. Now, I bought my house off market, so I got a decent deal. And my house wasn't affected too much by the inflated markets, but as I got it appraised, I made a lot of money in equity because it got appraised at a much higher value because the prices of the home in my area have gone up so much. I don't plan it staying like this for the next couple of years. The reason being is as millions of people are in forbearance and a lot of people are not paying their bills on time, you're gonna see a lot of foreclosures come up at the end of the year and the year after that. Now, in a perfect world, if that weren't to happen and people pay their bills on time, you're going to see interest rates go up and go up and go up to a very high rate where people won't want to buy homes. So one way or another, you're going to see some form of crash or correction. But that doesn't mean it's all bad and gloom. One thing I want investors to know is as you get into real estate, the cycles of real estate come and go. It's a very normal thing, and sometimes it's even affected that much at all when it comes to price and interest rates. Now, the 2008 housing recession, it was something that everybody knows and most of you were alive for to witness, where they basically, to sum up the whole thing, as long as you showed up to buy a house with a certain amount of money, they would give you it, and they didn't really check too much to see if you could actually afford it. So a lot of people ended up foreclosing on houses and they couldn't afford it, so everybody just scooping up real estate properties after that point. Now, the reason why a real estate crash, so to speak, or the bubble popping shouldn't worry you is because you should understand what you plan on doing. Real estate is a very long-term investment in my opinion. Now, if you want to make it short-term, such as wholesaling real estate or flipping houses in the short term, then you may have a difficult time making more money because the prices of homes will change a lot and you don't know if people are going to be paying top dollar in the next couple of years. But if your goal is what I do, which is renting out to tenants or doing Airbnb, depending on where you live and if that's popular or not, then you can still make a lot of money because, long story short, the rental price of a home doesn't really change that much, and as long as you have a list of tenants who are willing to pay and they're cool people, you'll still make your money. And as a long-term investment, the valuation of that home is going to go up and you'll still get all the tax write-offs that you normally would get. So in the short term, you'll still make money. So what I'm doing with my house is I'm not changing anything. I'm still fixing up everything. I'm still renting it out the same as if nothing were going to happen. So on the long-term hold, as everybody's figuring out what to do because a lot of people want to buy a home, you should understand that if the worst case scenario were to happen and everybody ends up foreclosing on their homes and everything hits the market at once, now's the time to start saving up money and figuring out where you want to buy, because you can scoop up a lot of real estate properties, a lot of short sales and foreclosures, and pick up a lot of properties for an extremely cheap price. And as time goes on, the interest rates will drop. It's just the cycles that you normally see. So as interest rates drop, you can refinance your home and get an extremely cheap mortgage payment and not have a lot to owe on the house. One thing I'm going to pull up is actually the history of the stock market. The reason why is because every asset group or investment type has cycles where the markets go down, the markets go up, and you have to be able to plan where certain things are going to go. So if you're a brand new investor or you haven't been investing for a long time, you haven't really been in a lot of crashes or corrections, and it's very hard to see the long-term play on things. So the entire history of the stock market, you can see down like right in the beginning, the big crash of the 1920s where the Great Depression happened, and it just keeps going up over the long term. So the long term, everything will be okay, but you have to understand that certain asset groups will perform poorly for a few years at a time. The next thing I want to bring up was the overall prices of homes from 1900 to 2012. This just shows that the different lines are prices adjusted for inflation and other indexes, but you can see that real estate prices have basically been on a steady incline. They had like smaller dips because it stretched out over 112 years, but you can see that different assets will perform differently and that the real estate market doesn't have to follow the stock market. So if the stock market is performing poorly, you can switch over to real estate and vice versa. And the next thing I was going to bring up is crypto. Now, crypto is obviously new, so the long-term data isn't really that strong and at least easy to show. So as I bring up the screen, you can see at the very bottom all the different cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, Ripple, Litecoin, and different things like that, and how they perform since they were created to right about now in 2021. Now, crypto is very hot, so you can see at the end of the graph just about every line starts to shoot back up. The reason why that's important is because crypto is in a bull market. Crypto has points where it crashes and it goes back up just like any other asset group, and it doesn't have to follow the stock market and it doesn't have to follow the real estate market. So different asset groups are going to perform better. And why am I bringing this up in a real estate video is because real estate has its own thing, it's doing its own thing. You shouldn't be concerned, and if it's not something you're ready for or ready to invest in now, you need to focus on other asset groups to build up your wealth so you can eventually get into real estate when the time comes. Because my short-term and long-term play is that there are going to be a lot of foreclosures popping up around the country. Now that's not all doom and gloom, because if you have enough money, you can make a lot of long-term wealth of real estate. A lot of people can't tell you what to do, and it's very good. And if you like working with your hands and physically seeing your assets, then this is the right investment for you. I have a few videos about how I got invested into real estate marketing and how I did it step by step without any BS and without trying to sell you guys anything. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link right here. Also, I also have my video out where I bought my house, so if you're interested in seeing my house and how I got that deal, I'll leave that down in the description below. Now, for my real estate investors, what I wanted to talk about is you're gonna have a hard time finding a home, because if you go on Zillow, Redfin, or any other real estate app, or just look on any website, you're going to see homes are flying off the shelf. It's very difficult to buy a home, and you're basically left with homes that are it's so much damage that you need to basically just level the home and rebuild it, or you just have an empty property lot, or you get a condo where the HOA fees are super expensive and nobody else wants to buy it. So there was old strategies where you go door to door knocking saying, hey, do you want to sell me your home? I'm a real estate investor. Or you can just tell a white lie and say, I'm trying to buy a home because I want to start a family, or XYZ. Now, nowadays, that doesn't really work like that, because one, there's a virus, people are sketched out from other people, they don't want to be face to face anymore. Two, we're in the age of the internet and cell phones. So everything's public, information's public, you can send emails, you can make phone calls. So what I like to do, and one thing that I like about my job personally, is that I'm in neighborhoods a lot working on different houses. So I see houses that pop up for sale, or houses that need a little bit of work, and I get to talking and networking with people. So what you should do on a nice day, just go for a run, walk, drive, and see different houses in your area that are good real estate properties, and then try to make phone calls or emails to that property, seeing if they want to sell you it. Now, I want to be completely straightforward with you. You can send about 200 emails or make 200 phone calls, and you may only get one that's actually interested in your offer, because obviously if it's not a for sale sign on that front lawn, they probably don't want to sell it in the first place. But you will always get that one couple, that one older person who's just like, yeah, you know, I actually been thinking about it. And if you can save money on real estate fees and title fees and everything like that by doing it off market, they may be more willing to sell the home to you because you're making it very easy to them. And since you came to them first, now they're gonna start thinking about it. So all you need is that one person, and you can get yourself a good deal. And that's entirely up to you if you want to put that work and see if you can get a real estate deal yourself. Last but not least, you should look into different forms of investments for real estate. One of those being REITs, which stands for Real Estate Investment Trust, which, to summarize it to a brand new investor, it's basically buying a stock into real estate. But the one good thing about these is that they pay an extremely high dividend. Now that doesn't mean it's always good and that you'll always get paid that dividend. Now you can, just like any other investment type, you can find a more safe investment that pays a lower dividend and it's more consistent, but it's depending on what you want. One thing that I noticed was last year, actually in March, when we had our mini crash and it went down 40%, REITs never really recovered in value. Their price hasn't gone up as much. Now they're back to paying dividends again, but the valuation of those companies hasn't really risen. So if you're looking for a long-term investment, I've actually been investing to that myself. So if you're interested in this stock market investing and you don't want to buy a home yet, that's one way you can get into real estate, and that's one thing that hasn't really gotten popular yet. So if you want to look into those, I have different things in my Discord down below where I talk about it just about every single day if you want to join. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I don't really see a lot of doom and gloom in the market. Even if it crashes, I have a plan, and I'm not really concerned about my own investments myself. And I'm speaking from experience because the house you're seeing behind me is the house I own. So obviously I'm putting money where my mouth is, and I'm not really that concerned to things that are going to happen. So if you guys want to keep up to date on what's happening in the real estate markets, you can join my Discord down below. If not, just comment down below if you have any questions. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.